Welcome back. We've been talking about moving house. I have to say, I think the worst part about moving is the lack of control and the uncertainty. Will it all fall through at the last minute? Is there going to be a problem? Will people say yes? Will people say no? Will you be able to book everything you need to do? Will it go right on the day? It's just really stressful. And I have to say, I'm scared about going. I'm excited about going, and I don't know what to do for the best because it will be so disappointing if it doesn't happen.
Jim Jim.
I've had several months now to make all the preparations, so hopefully when moving day arrives, it is going to just be a case of following the plan. AJ, Meg, and Jim are going to my mother's a couple of days beforehand, and Floppy and Gandalf will be going round to my friends on the day to get them out of the way. This is going to be a new experience for them because they've not been there before, and they are going to be sitting in her van. If this hadn't been an option, I would have had to look at a kennels or alternatively make 2 trips to my mother's with the dogs, which is not ideal because her house really isn't up to having 5 greyhounds suddenly descend upon it. If you don't want to put them in kennels, you really do need somewhere for them to go for the day because it's going to be a very busy day with people coming and going. And then, of course, I have to clean the whole house before I can move out. When I get to the new house with Floppy and Gandalf, I'm not going to be able to take them in straight away because I have to wait for the removals firm to put all their stuff in and finish their job, because with things coming and going, it won't be suitable to take the dogs right in. This means they're going to have to sit in the car for a bit, and I will have to get in the house and set up some bedding and find the most important thing, which is Floppy's nappy, because the last thing I want is for him to be christening the house the moment I arrive. I don't want to have to start even more cleaning yet again. I've got a big heat reflective sheet which I can drape over the car, which has 2 purposes. Firstly, if it's a warm day, it will help to keep the car cooler, but also it will block their view. So hopefully Floppy is more likely to stay calm while he sits in the car and waits till we can get in. When it comes to getting them settled, this is going to be very much like bringing any new dog to a new house. We're going to take our time doing a tour of the house and of the bits of the garden that they can go in, just as you would if you were bringing a new one home. A big problem that I do have with this house is that I'm not going to be able to let them off in the garden straight away because the fence is going to need some work to make it secure. And part of my preparation for moving has been to order some things that I can use as a temporary fence to enclose part of the garden, as having to wait a few weeks not being able to let the dogs out is not really going to be a very practical solution, and I don't anticipate being able to get proper fencing put up immediately. I've also done myself a rough plan of where the beds are going to go. I've even measured it out so I know they're going to fit, because I want to fit 4 beds into a relatively small space. And of course, I want to get that all set up before I go and pick up the other 3. And that's another complication because when we move in, it will be a new house to them. I don't want to risk leaving Floppy and Gandalf on their own while I go and collect the others. But my mother's car is not going to be suitable to bring the dogs to me, which means she will end up having to come to me to sit with Floppy and Gandalf while I then drive to her house and pick up the other 3 and bring them back. So even that is complicated. She lives about 30 miles away from the new house, so it could be worse. It is feasible to do, but it's going to involve a bit more driving than I would have liked. Of course, if I'd been moving further away, that just wouldn't have worked at all, and they might have had to go somewhere else. And then, of course, we're just going to be looking at settling into our new house. One big advantage with the new house is that I will have off-road parking. So getting dogs and other stuff in and out of the car is going to be so much easier than it is now, where I have to go trotting down the side path out onto the pavement, face the risk of meeting other dog walkers coming past, which seems to happen a lot in this particular location. So to be able to just pop out the front door and go straight into the car and then drive away without running the gauntlet of other dogs before we even get started is going to be such a relief. I think it will take a few weeks before the guys can feel that they're at home, And I'm going to make a point of not washing bedding and toys before we leave so that they can take their smell with them, although it might make more sense to go with clean stuff. I think it will be better for them if we go with dirty stuff. And I suspect Floppy will find a way to add his own special smell into the mix before too long, which is probably pretty inevitable given his previous performance. We'll be taking it very steady, going back to basics in terms of when I start to leave them, not getting too carried away about exploring our new area or about having people round until they feel more settled. It's like starting from the beginning again. They are such creatures of habit. They take a lot of reassurance from their familiar surroundings. And of course, I can't explain to them that this is not a holiday, that we won't be here for very long, that we're just going to be coming home in a few days. They're not going to understand that, are they? So of course it is going to be quite difficult, and I know sometimes greyhounds can find it difficult to adapt to a move of house, so it really is important to take it steady if you possibly can. If you're considering moving house and you have a greyhound or two, I hope these videos have been helpful to you. We'll be keeping you updated about how we get on once we've actually gone. And if you've been through this yourself and have any tips to share, please let us know in the comments what worked and what didn't work. It's all useful to hear. That's all for today, so bye for now. Look out for new videos every Monday, and why not subscribe so you don't miss out?